Plaintiff Ricky Davis says his daughter is dating the defendant, and they have a child together. Ricky claims he wasn't happy when they started dating because the defendant had been in prison for 10 years. But he tries to help for the sake of his grandbaby. Ricky's suing the defendant for an unpaid loan. Defendant Brandon Gregory admits that he was a drug addict who spent 10 years in prison, and he met Ricky's daughter while in a halfway house. Brandon claims as a result of his past, he's had a hard time securing a job, but he insists Ricky has been repaid for the loan.
Start with you.
I met Brandon back, I think it was November or December. He was dating my daughter. He's the father of my grandbaby. And he'd been in prison for 10 years and was in a halfway house. And I really didn't think he was a good option for my daughter, but went ahead and started helping him out anyway because they were together and he's the father of my grandbaby.
Good.
So I found out that he was using meth a lot and not taking care of his responsibilities.
After coming back from prison?
After
parole?
leaving the halfway house and them getting together into a living arrangement.
How did you find that out?
Through my daughter. She would come and stay with us because they would be fighting. And
She told you he was on crystal meth?
on meth, yes.
How long ago was that?
It's been happening since they've been together off and on at different times. And he would tell me he was
Since
clean.
his parole?
Yeah, since he left the halfway house. And he would tell me that he would be clean for a while, and I'd try to help him because I run a masonry business, masonry and roofing
A
business.
missionary? Well, you're
Yes.
supposed to help him. You're a missionary.
Masonry, sir.
Oh, Mason.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
Masonry and roofing.
you know. Okay. I thought you was, missionary. I said, you had a little work to do over there. Look, it appears. Look like he might like to take a nip or two every now and then. No meth, but you take your shot, won't you?
I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict myself, Your Honor, and I believe in second
How long
chance.
you been in recovery?
5 years.
Good. Congratulations to you. Let me hear from you, young man. Sir?
A little background about us. You know, I was in prison for doing 10 years. I went to a halfway house. There I met his daughter, and
Did she work there or was it a patient?
no, I met her on Facebook while I was at the halfway house.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
All
and,
right.
So we started, dating, and I ended up leaving there, and
When was that?
I left in April 2018,
Okay.
and but I met her in December of 18. Well, by dating her, I ended up getting real familiar with her family because we'll be having family outings and stuff like that. Well, my background is kind of messed up. I am a recovering drug addict and I have been to prison and everything. So we ended up having a kid. Well, I knew I had to get a job. I couldn't really find a job like that as quick as possible. So Rick did say, he'll let me work.
Defendant Brandon Gregory is being sued by his girlfriend's father, who claims he wasn't happy when they started dating because Brandon had just served 10 years in prison.
What about your addiction?
Well, I was on, I did dib and dab with crystal meth a couple times, but that's not what my addiction was
He says
about.
you have continuous addiction that his daughter comes to him about and has to stay with them from time to time as a result of your addiction. That's not true?
Not exactly true.
Okay. Do you go to NA meetings?
No, sir.
What's your form of recovery?
I've been clean and I've been working. I've been trying to do the right thing. That's my recovery because I feel like I have been to NA.
Well, you'll break a record because very rarely do people recover without any treatment. How often do you go?
3 times a week.
3 times a week,
Yep.
5 years later.
Yes, sir.
And this is about what I hear for people who do not relapse or who relapse very little, is that they go 3 times a week for years. How does he owe you?
I helped him to get a Chrysler 300 2005 because we were continually having to get him to the store, to the doctor, pick him up for work when he worked and all that. So they
Doctor,
found a
where do you
car.
have to go to the doctor for something unrelated to the addiction?
No, the baby would.
Got it, the baby, I
Yes.
missed that. Okay.
And he found a car, and it was for $3,000 to get the car and get new tires and stuff on it when I loaned him the money. And what the agreement was, he said he would go get a payday or a title loan back for the money directly afterwards. That never did happen, but what I think happened was he got the loan, but it didn't go for paying me back because I've got $0 on the car or anything.
All right, sir, what do you say to this?
I have a promissory note to
Let's
Your
see
Honor.
it, please, Doyle.
Thanks. Well, what I will say is that is, you know, during me being there, you know, I was working for him, you know, doing masonry, you know what I'm saying?
Were you living there or?
No, I was
okay,
living with his
visiting
daughter.
frequently.
Yeah, and I work with him, but you know, I work for him, working off the bill for the car.
How much?
I really don't have evidence to show anything like
How
that.
much did he say? What was the agreement on that?
$12 an hour.
Okay. Sir, did you agree to pay him $12 an hour?
For his work, but
Yeah.
he didn't pay anything for the car loan.
Let me see. I, Brandon, agreed to pay Ricky for a Chrysler. I will work for and pay you back weekly till it is all paid back. And that is February of 19.
Right.
And said I will work for the loan. Mm-hmm. So what are you saying?
He never worked to pay that loan.
What other loan is there, sir?
Other things that they rent.
And he worked to pay that off?
That off. He never got to this yet.
Sir, did you? Well, he wasn't staying there. Why would he pay rent? He said he didn't
Not to
live
me.
there. To
I would
who?
loan them money for the rent.
Okay.
Him money for rent,
Was
cigarettes.
your daughter staying there with
They
him?
lived together. That's
All right. Do you mind if I ask her something? Ma'am, would you stand? State your name.
Brianna Osborne.
Okay. And so, is this your mom?
Yes.
And that's your dad?
Yes.
All right. Your understanding ain't no understanding. Did you receive loans from your dad for your
Yes.
household?
Yes, he did.
Did you all pay him anything back?
I felt like we paid him back
Felt like.
because he would go to work and then
What, when you went in your pocket,
no.
when you came out, you had less in there? It felt lighter it felt lighter when he came around. Your pockets were bulging. By the time he walked in the room, they got lighter. So you felt like that's the reason. I understand. That how it happened?
No.
Or it felt like
Because
that?
he would be going to work and then it felt like every time he went to work, it was, no, this was for that, this was for that. It was like there was an excuse every time that he would go to work that he wouldn't get paid for the day, basically. He wouldn't get paid, never. So he never had any money to show for it. But then when it came down to it, when we were talking about, okay, we shouldn't owe you anything now.
Defendant Brandon Gregory is being sued by his girlfriend's father, who claims he wasn't happy when they started dating because Brandon had just served 10 years in prison.
Let me give you some advice, young lady. You have a stable lifestyle, it appears, right?
Yes.
And you chose this young man for whatever reason after leaving prison, and nothing wrong with that. I think that you perhaps could benefit him. This reminds me of what happened with me. Right when I started college, my mother died. So I was by myself, heartbroken, had nobody, in extreme pain, and was still half thugging. And met my wife, Linda, about a year later. She said, I'm not dealing with a thug. And she encouraged me to finish college with her. We went go to the library together. We do everything together. I used to hang with all my boys, still getting in trouble. When she came along, she helped change me. So.
I mean, I feel like I've bettered him since we've been together. He's
Okay.
changed. He's got a job now. You
Yeah.
know, like I feel like I bring out.
You feel like it as well? That
Yes,
she
sir.
has helped you?
Yes, sir.
Out of love?
Yes, sir.
All right, out of your love for her and wanting to be with her and her being the person that she is. And her family accepts you? Right? We wouldn't give you no car and wouldn't do all that. Y'all looking at each other. If he didn't do all that, you wouldn't be able to come over. I was a thug, and my wife, thank God, she had parents who did accept me. And I was able to come over and had no place to live during college break. And they allowed me to come, gave me a bedroom in their house, stayed there forever. And believe me, they're all right now. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Thank you.